Welcome back, guys. It's been a while since I've done a video, I know that, but I've got a good little project going on here I want to share with you. So as you know, the cost of living is just constantly going up and really fast at the moment, and also the cost of power is going up at a rapid rate. So what I decided to do, I've been thinking about it for a while, was actually put a slab in the backyard here, and I'm going to build a little shed on it, which I'm going to turn into a power station. So I'm going to have solar panels on the roof of this, and I've already got 6.6 kilowatts of solar on the roof of the house, but I'm going to add more to that eventually as well. So I plan to power the whole house off grid. So eventually I'll disconnect from the grid completely and just run off my power station. So I thought I'd share with you the progress and how I build it and everything like that, design it, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thanks, guys. Alright, so as the first step, what I got to do is I've got to work out where I'm going to sit all my frames on the outside. So it's going to be a 3.16 by 3.16 metre shed, which means 10 square metres, because in Queensland you can have up to a 10 square metre shed without council approval. And it's going to be a maximum of 2.4 metres high. So I've just marked them when the corners of the frames are going to be. So unfortunately this slab's not perfectly square, but that's alright, we can work around it. So what I'm going to do is just overhang this frame a little bit here by about 10-15 millimeters, and that way, because I want my cladding on the outside, I want it to be running over the edge of the slab so water doesn't run into the shed. So you can see down this end of the slab here, this is where the frame will end. So generally you'd want to have like a little rebate around the edge of your slab so that the water doesn't run in at all, or you'd finish your slab right at the end of the frame so you can just run the cladding over the side and water will run down. I haven't done that, so what I'm going to do is just get some aluminium flashing and flash up the side of the frame and seal it all up so water doesn't come in. Righto, so now I figured out where my frames are going to sit. Next step is actually start building the frames. So I'm going to start by cutting the top and bottom plate of the first frame to the right lengths and then put the studs in between them. So I've got a mask on because I'm using treated pine, so generally you don't really want to touch it with your hands too much or breathe in or anything, so that's why I'm wearing a mask. Righto, now it's time to start banging some nails in. So I've got a little air framing nailer gun, little air compressor, and let's see how we go. Okay, so I've got both the end studs on and the intersecting studs on each side. So now I'm going to go along and just mark out with a pen all the way along here exactly where I'm going to put all the studs on the top and the bottom, so I can make sure they're all nice and straight. So I've just marked them up there with some pen all the way along so I know where to put all my studs. Look at that, it's coming along nicely. Almost one frame done. So this is where my window is going to go. Just going to make sure I measure this correct size and distance from the bottom here to make sure the window fits beautifully. It's a sweltering hot day today. Erin's come to give me a hand. Keen as?
Yep.
Up in the shed.
35 degrees, let's do it.
Yeah, it's so hot. I don't envy the builders out there in this sort of hot weather, working all day. Right, so that frame's done. The only thing I've got to do now is put on the stud ties. So these just like hold the bottom and top plate to the stud so it doesn't get blown off in wind. Alright, so that frame we've moved over there, so we're starting onto the back frame at the moment. So this one's going to be pretty simple because it's all, because that other one there had like a angled profile on the roof because the roof is like 2.5 degrees. But these ones should be the back frame, which would be just straight, so should be pretty easy to do, shouldn't take us too long. Yep, so I just got Erin measuring these up for me, doing a good job of that, and just going to trim it all up here so it should make it a bit faster.
kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Can't twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you.
River's coming to give us a hand now. You gonna pick up the nail gun, mate? Have it a go? Yeah, a bit dangerous for you, eh? So Mummy's doing the stud ties, River, so if the shed flies away, it's her fault, okay? I might do if Mummy doesn't put the stud ties on properly. Alright, so we're on to day 2. So it's not quite as hot today, which is nice. A bit more of a breeze as well. So we finished 2 of the frames. Now I'm just going to move these off here and start with the last 2 frames. So I won't bore you too much with this. I'll probably just more do a time lapse of the last 2 frames. It's pretty much the same as the first 2, except for like one of them's got a door in it.
Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby.
Final frame done. Getting a lot quicker at doing these. Took me a while to do the first ones, but coming along nicely now. I did have to trim a little bit off the ends of this door here. Could have made it a bit too long, but other than that, it's come up pretty good. So that's where the door will be sitting right here. So Aaron's out at the moment, so I'm just going to have a go at doing the framing myself. I mean, probably not the best idea, but I can't be bothered waiting, so yeah, watch, see if it ends up being a failure.
Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak my mind. Oh. Some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're gentle and wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, 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 oh,
Getting excited now. Got 2 of the frames up. So it's actually a little bit tricky doing it by yourself, but as long as you take your time, it's not too bad, I find. So you just gotta I just nail some supports on there to hold it there for now, as I'm doing it. But Erin said she's gonna be not too far away, so I might just wait till she comes and then I'll keep doing the rest of it. Alrighty, coming along nicely. So Erin helped me with one frame, but I ended up having to do the other frame myself because she had to go out again. So yeah, so I'm just basically joining these top plates together with these little corner pieces, banging nails on each side, and then I'm going to go around and adjust all the bottom of it, make sure everything's level, and not bang the concrete nails in the bottom here. Alright, so that's done. So I've just gone around and pre-drilled pilot holes and then just banged in those concrete nails. And make sure you get exactly the right drill bit, otherwise they're pretty hard to get the nails to go in. So yeah, you can see, just banged in these nails all around the bottom plate to fix it to the concrete. Okay, now all we have to do is just go around with a level, and then I'm going to use pieces of this pine here and brace both directions. Once I get it all level, I can fix them off, and then I'll stay there until I finish putting the ply on the inside, because the actual ply on the inside would become the bracing then. Hey guys, so pretty excited about today because I might actually be able to get the roof on today. Well, not completed, but I'll get the rafters up at least. So first up, I'm going to put some ply on the inside, then insulate it, wrap it, put the rafters on after that. So the reason I'm wrapping it first, you'll find it a bit later, so stick around. So down both sides of the shed here, as you can see, there's no rebate or anything, as I mentioned previously in another video. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this flashing I got from Bunnings. I'm going to run that down each side. Unfortunately, it's a little bit short because they're only 3 meter length. So to do the last bit, just got a little bit of this flashing which will sit right there. Glue that on, and that'll take up the last bit of length there. Should hopefully keep the water out. Like that. So run silicone all the way along the bottom of that. Yeah, I'm just going to sit it up, make sure this is nice and clean. Now I can sit this up against the side, right against the corner. And squish that all down so it's nicely sealed. Then I'm just going to get some button screws here and screw it to the frame up the top. And I'll probably run another bit of silk along the front of this too, make sure it's really well sealed, like that all the way along. Alright, so that's the first sheet of ply done. So I decided to run them horizontally because it's just easier. Just bang a whole sheet along, 2400 long, nail that on. Then the top one I'll put on. Then I can just go around the back of it and just shrink. Then I can go around the back of it and just draw a line all the way along, and I can just cut it off. Makes it easy. So I'm using nails because nails are structurally stronger than screws. They're a little bit more tedious to put in, obviously, but because I'm using this for bracing, it really needs to be pretty strong, so I'm using nails. Right, so that's 3 of them done, 3 ply boards. And what I'm doing, I'm just going to nail them straight on, and for instance where the window opening is, I'm just going to get my reciprocating saw and just cut it out on the inside. Didn't quite come out as nice as I would like at the top there. It was a bit finicky trying to hold the whole board up there and then cut it off. So I think for this next one here, I'm just actually going to cut it first, then put it up and nail it on with the so I cut it with the skill saw first. That should make it a bit easier and come up a bit nicer. I'll just do this one more wall in this bottom piece here. Stick that on. That should be enough bracing to keep it all nice and sturdy, I think. So it's day 5 on the shed build. So today we're going to do the insulation and wrap it. Just flip this camera around here. So this is the insulation we're using. So it's a R1.5 insulation butts. I'm just going to stick this in around the outside like this. So these butts will just sit into all these holes on the outside. You might have to use a bit of tape to hold them in. But yeah, they're basically going to sit in there all the way around the outside, and then we'll wrap it up just on the areas that have the ply to begin with, and the rest of the insulation butts are put in on the inside. Alright, now we're up to putting the wrap on. So I got this Amatilin, it's called Amatilin wall wrap. So it's like an R1 wrap, it's basically like a vapor barrier as well. So I think the blue side goes on the outside, and I'm going to start here. You've got to start at the bottom, and you've got to overlap the other layers over the top of it. So we'll have 2 runs all the way around, and you've got these little caps. So I've got these little caps, these nail cap things, like a little washer type plastic washer on it. That's like holds it on without tearing through it. So yeah, we're gonna got that all wrapped up now, so I'm going to actually hang all this over the top of the walls. Fold all that over. On the inside here, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm putting rafters on top, and this is going to come up underneath the rafters, and I'll wrap the whole inside of the bottom of the rafters. So I think I'm going to do is start over this side, put that first rafter on this end, I need to try and make sure it's perfectly square because I'm going to have like solar panels on there that need to fit perfectly square on the roof. So I'm going to have to start one end, putting a rafter at the other end, and then try and make sure it's all squared up, and put the rafters in between. Yeah, so I ended up getting my old man and my uncle to come give me a hand to do these rafters because it was a bit of a mission to do by myself. And they've got more experience than me, so it's good to have their advice as well on how I should do it. But I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. So I've got the roof squared up as best as I can because the solar panels need to sit perfectly aligned along these edges of these rafters. So I've got one tie down here. I've just got to put all the rafter ties in all the way along on both sides, and then all the joist hangers. And then we start doing the solar panels. The end of another day. It's been really successful today. I'm happy with what we achieved. So we've got all the rafters on. I've spent the last hour or so just doing all the truss ties and so I've got all the hangers on the end there and all the truss ties. They're all fixed now. So it's all coming together beautifully. So the next thing is put the solar panels on. Just hopefully I've squared it up enough so that the panels fit perfectly on there. But we'll find out. So that's tomorrow morning. Day 6 of the build today, so today's the day we get the solar panels on. Been looking forward to this because this is like the main reason I'm obviously building this whole thing, you know, to have the extra solar panels and also a place to put my batteries and inverter, and also I'm going to use it as like a shed with like my tools and a workbench and stuff, so it's going to be very handy. So Chris is coming over, so that's my sister's partner, coming over to give me a hand to put the solar panels on. So yeah, just going to set them up the top there. I've got like stainless steel brackets I'm going to put on and screw them all in, and then silicone in between the panels to get them sealed nicely together, and on top of them along the joins I'll put a bit of Secure as well, so hopefully that should get it watertight, but we'll see. So I couldn't bother be waiting, so I decided just to have a go at getting one up there. I find most of the time I can do things myself, it just makes it easier to someone else. So I've got one panel sitting up there. I'm just going to try and maybe, I don't know if I should screw that one off yet, or maybe put a few on first, I think. So I might actually put 2 of them on, silicone them together, and then screw them on. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Drill a new hole.
They're flush together now, better?
Sorry?
They fit flush together better now? On the other side. So I've just got these 2 clamps on each side, which clamp them together, put some silicone in between, and then screwing them together. So what we're doing is we're fixing 2 together at a time, screwing them together so they're flush and really hard. Now we're putting silicone in between these 2, and we're going to push them flush together and then screw them together before we fix them off. So I'm stoked with how the solar panels turned out. It took us about an hour and a half to put it up there. As you can see, it overhangs nicely around the whole edge, so it means the rafters is nice and square. I was a little bit worried about them not fitting on beautifully, but they come out really nice, so I'm stoked. So I've got about 48 brackets I've got to put on. So I've got little stainless steel brackets and about 6 for each panel. So I'm going to around put all them on so they hold them on there nicely for now, and I'll probably get a couple of bolted brackets as well to make sure they definitely don't go anywhere. Now it's time for the real test. So I'm going to get out the sprinkler, put it on the roof and run it for about half an hour and see if any water leaks in. Fingers crossed. So I've just got my sprinkler up here. I'm kind of got it close to the middle of the roof. I'm just going to turn it on and see what happens. I'm just having a look around inside now. Can't see any leaks yet. I mean, it's early days. You can hear all the water hitting it there. So far looking pretty good. So I'll leave that there for half an hour and I'll come back and have a look, let you know how it's gone. So all the rod is running over the back here. You can see how it runs off the end. See it's kicking down back here a bit. It's hitting all the vapor barriers, so that should be fine. It's not kicking back up underneath, which is good. It's kind of stopping here and dropping down. Bottom I've got me flushing there, stop the water from going underneath. Seems like most of the water's running down this way. It's flowing down off the edge, off here. Falls that way. Bit of a flush eve on the side here, and the water runs off down the side, but I've siliconed in between the vapor barrier and the timber, stop water getting in there. But obviously this is all going to be clad, and I'll probably clad it right up to just underneath the solar panel there and seal it up, make sure no water gets in there. So I'm thinking eventually I'll probably put a gutter along here, screw it onto the fascia, and then I might even put it like a water tank, just sit it here, a little round one, and I can put water running into that, and I can use it to water the garden. Alright, so that sprinkler's been going for half an hour. I'm just going to go back in and fingers crossed there's no water coming. Let's have a look. On the ground, I can't see any water on the ground. Let's look up here. It's looking pretty good. Got a wide angle. Can't see any water. It's very promising. Looking very promising. Stoked about that. Very stoked. So it looks like there's no water, so I'm really happy about that, because that was one thing I was quite worried about, that I put all the panels up and then I put water on it and it leak and I'd be like, oh man, I'm trying to fix it, couldn't fix it, I put the panels off, all that. But it looks like it's pretty good, pretty sealed. I can't see any water. Stoked as. Also, my looking good too, because I can't see any water coming under the walls. It's amazing how much cooler it feels in here when you got the water on top of the solar panels. It absorbs all the heat. It's just really cool in here. I mean, that'd be kind of a cool idea, maybe to have like a fine mist spray over top of the panels during the day when it's hot and sunny. Somehow you could have like a little of my fried mist spray and see what difference that makes to the performance of the panels and everything. The door is a little bit out of level, a frame, so I've got to use these packers here put him inside this door jamb. So I got this door jamb for $49 from Bunnings. I don't think it's not actually an external one, so I have to see how it goes. I might give it a good coat of paint and everything. Hopefully it lasts. Put the frame pretty level. I had to use a lot of packers on one side. I'll show you. So you can see here I've got like 6 1mm ones. Up top there I've got about 10mm or so packers in there. I managed to get it pretty straight. Now I'll put the top in and put the door stop in, and then hopefully it works out well and it'll actually close properly. That's the whole door jamb in place. Now I've got these door stops that I've cut to length. Now I've got to position these in here, basically like that, and then screw them in too. That's what stops the door from swinging out. Alright, so that's the door stop done. You can see door stop there going right around. Come on pretty nice. So now I've got to try and hang the door. So I've never done any of this before. I've never done door stops or hinges or nothing. So hopefully it actually closes properly. Got the door sitting here. I'm going to push these hinges in, flush up against there, and then measure how high the top of the door is to the gap at the top of the jamb here. And then I'll just put something under the door to hold it up a little bit, and then I'll just screw the hinges in. We've got this door packed up, sitting there, so the hinges are all sitting there nice and flush in the door jamb. So now I should be able to just screw that in, and ideally it should all close up nicely. So I've put the screws in. I left a couple of screws out. Basically just got 2 screws in. Now let's see if it actually closes. So I had to put the camera down to get those packers out. They're pretty hard, but they're out now. So let's see if that closes. Oh, it's not closing. Something's getting jammed up. What is it? Oh, up the top there, it's clipping in the corner. So I think I need to put those hinges too close. I got off adjusted a bit. Getting dark now, the sun's about to go down, but I finally got this door pretty much sorted. Pretty happy. So I ended up actually pulling the screws out of the door stop and just shifting that over by a couple of millimeters. And now, as you can see, the door closes nicely. There's a very tiny gap at the top, but it's going to close it, but I'll take that. Pretty happy considering it's the first time I've ever done a door like this, so stoked. So we've got pretty crappy weather today, but I want to stick this window in, so I've just cut out the metal in wall wrap, and I'm just going to slide the window in there and screw it in, and then we can get ready to put all the cladding on the outside. So fits like a glove. Alright, so we're getting close to the final stages of completing the shed. So right now I'm just putting the corner trims on. So it's going to go around each corner. So I've decided to use FC sheet weatherboard around the outside. So it's a hardy plank weatherboard, it's called. Basically it's like a fibrous cement, it's compressed, and it's like really hard wearing. Like it's really handles the weather well, really long lasting. Alright, so that's one corner moulding done. Now I've got 3 more to go, and then I can start banging on the weatherboard. Usually you'd use a skill saw or a drop saw with like a special fibre cement cutting blade, but I haven't got one of those, so I'm just using this angle grinder with like a diamond cutting blade, basically, masonry blade, and I'm just going to measure out along these lengths of the FC sheet and just mark it up with a pen and cut it with this. Hopefully I can get straight enough lines. So you can buy like special starter strips that go on the bottom for these, but I've just cut up pieces of FC sheet. I'm just going to glue these onto this first piece and use them as like a spacer to get the right angle when I nail the first piece on. So I'm using a bit of silicone on the bottom of these pieces and just going to push it on, stick them down. So I've got my marks out now, so you can see top of my first board will sit right there, and then you can see all these marks going all the way up. So you go all the way up to the top, and the last board should sit perfectly underneath the bottom of that rafter. So I've just got to basically get it sitting right in line with my lines there near the end. Now I've just got to put nails in 15mm from the top here into the studs. Done. Just got a few more nails to go in, but yeah, that should work out pretty well. So I decided to put another one on today. It overlaps this second one by 25mm and hides all the nails I put in. I did make one mistake though. I think I put this around the wrong way, so I'm pretty sure I used the wrong side. So it's a little bit rougher than this, but hopefully when I paint it, you don't think you notice much of a difference anyway. So I just make sure I do it the right way for the rest of them though. Lesson learned. Alright, so that's all hardy plank done. It's come out very nice now, looking so much better. It's really starting to come together. So now basically just got to put the other sheets on the rear side, but I'm not using hardy plank sheets on that side. I'm using hardy flex panels. So you can see these big flat panels here. The reason I'm doing that is because it's cheaper. Obviously I'm trying to keep the whole cost of the whole project down. See, these are quite a bit more expensive, and it's on the back so you can't really see it anyway, so I'm not worried about how it looks like. Obviously I wanted the front to look nicer. Okay, so the next step after I've finished putting all the cladding on, including the rear cladding, is to paint it. So I'm going to paint a nice white colour, just going to paint everything white. So I don't recommend doing it that way. I don't know if you saw at the end then, but it fell off, landed right on my toes. Make sure you wear steel cap boots. Also, don't do it the way I did it. I reckon I might lose a toe now. It hurts. So for the paint, I used a British Paints oil-based 4-in-1 prep/primer coat, so that seals it as well as also primes it. I then applied 2 additional top coats using British Paints water-based 4-season defense exterior. I used a fully white paint for everything just because I like the all-white look. After I finished painting everything, I got some silicone and a caulking gun, went around and sealed all the windows and all the edges of the hardy plank boards, etc. Anywhere I thought a bit of water could get in, to make sure it was fully sealed. So the first stage of my energy transition is finally complete. Been thinking about this project for a long time actually, and it's great to finally get around to completing it. So I'm really happy with the end result, super happy with how it looks. Better than I expected to look actually. It's kind of pretty good considering budget was a big factor in this build. So to get the result I did, I'm quite proud of. It's also the first time I've done anything at this scale. Like it's pretty small as far as buildings go, but I've never actually built anything like this. So yeah, stoked as. Thanks for watching guys, I'll catch you in the next one.